Gurmagud Cian Corla, and I just like to say thank you to Deputy Murphy, because the orthodontics issue is something that comes across my desk all the time, and I think actually access to training for orthodontists is an issue that we need to deal with as well. What I want to talk about today is a banking forum. Look, we had a debate in the Dáil here a few weeks ago around the current situation in banking in Ireland. So we're at a moment, I think we can all agree, of great difficulty. We've seen the announcement by Ulster Bank of their withdrawal from the Irish market. And hot on the heels of that announcement was the announcement of closures of almost 100 branches of Bank of Ireland. And, you know, during that debate, we heard from, I think, every party and every independent group in the chamber of the huge distress and the huge worry of communities in terms of losing their local branches and losing their access to banking. And really what that's about is financial inclusion. And financial inclusion and being able to bank is hugely linked to your ability to access your money, to use it well. We heard that there's a real concern about competitiveness in the banking sector, and that having two pillar banks operating here is really not a competitive industry. It's a duopoly, and that financial products may become more profit-driven. We already have some of the most expensive mortgage products in Europe. And I think possibly most importantly, what we heard from the Minister of Finance, following a question from myself and a number of other deputies, was, is there any expectation of another pillar bank coming into the Irish market? And the answer to that was no. Because the banks that are leaving, it's not that they weren't making a profit. They were making a profit. They just weren't making enough of a profit. And in those circumstances, it's very hard to see how another bank would be introduced into the Irish market. The issues that are facing people around banking in Ireland speak very much to some of the discussions we've had today in the Dáil, which is around, you know, regional access and regional development. And we saw a very, very good announcement from the government this week around rural funding and being able to, you know, work remotely and really concentrating and trying to support local communities and regional communities in areas in Ireland. But I can tell you, if SMEs don't have access to credit in that mix, then a lot of our good work is going to be undone. And we know from the research that having your local branch and a relationship with your local branch manager has a massive impact, more than 50% impact, on whether a small or medium enterprise is comfortable accessing credit. And we know in Ireland that small and medium enterprise don't access enough credit. We're now facing into the ramifications of Brexit, we're facing into the ramifications of COVID and the COVID recovery. The Financial Services Union has called for a banking forum so that we can get all of this stuff on the table and look at it in detail, and that we would have all the players in terms of the banking sector in a room together to discuss it. As we face into that COVID recovery, people's ability to access credit will be of paramount importance. And if your local branch is closing and you're not able to walk down the road to the next branch and talk to a bank manager, that is going to impact both people's immediate experience of financial inclusion, but also our national recovery from the COVID pandemic. So I'm asking the Minister today, will the Department take on to set up a banking forum? And by a banking forum, I don't just mean that the Minister of Finance or deeper are sitting in a room with pillar banks and perhaps the central bank. What we want to see is, you know, credit unions at that table, the post office at that table, labour unions at the table, a truly inclusive discussion around what the future of banking should be.